I'm Reed Bowers, and this is Bowers Shrimp Farm. A shrimp farmer is basically like a catfish farmer. We buy our animals when they're little, our PLs, they're called post larvae, put them in our indoor building to head start them, and then we count them, and then we stock them directly in the ponds where we monitor them. We'll feed them 5 times a day. We'll monitor water quality, and it takes about 90 days to get a harvestable size shrimp, about 18 to 20 grams, and then we process them, harvest them, then process them. Maybe shrimp farming chose me. My dad was one of the first ones in the area to do it, and he was a farmer, a rice farmer, a grain farmer, and when I was a kid I hung around him all the time, and I knew I always wanted to be a farmer at some level. And then as he transitioned more into shrimp farming, that's just what I did, and then bought the company a couple years ago, and been growing ever since. Yeah, so I have 4 kids, 1 girl, 3 boys, and my middle son, Ryan, has been, acts like he may be interested in doing it, and he does. He hangs around me a lot. He goes to the farm and works with me, works in the processing plant, and my youngest one says he might like to do it also. So yeah, I think there's some interest, but we'll see how it goes. So we have the Collegeport farm, which is where we're at now, here in Collegeport. It's our shrimp farm. It's 440 acres of water. It produces roughly 2.2 million pounds of shrimp head-on every year. And then we have a catfish farm that has we've just expanded it. We're going to be right at 210 acres of water, and we'll produce right at 2.5 million pounds of whole catfish a year. And then we have another piece of property that we farm, share crop. So it depends on the year. It changes a little bit every year depending on the season. But on average, we shoot for, say, 17,000, 18,000 pounds per pond per cycle. Most people don't realize that shrimp are farm raised, especially in the United States. We're a very small industry. So I guess they don't realize that they are farmed, so that's probably the biggest misconception. They think all the shrimp is caught in the wild, and that makes up less than 50% of the worldwide production. So I would think that's probably the biggest misconception. Disease has been one of the biggest issues. I said when my dad started back in '89, back in '93, '94, we used to produce 35,000 pounds in a pond. So our production now is half of what it was. And we're starting to try to build that back up. But disease, there's been different viruses that have come in and that are around. It's a big issue. And the biggest issue is cheap imports that don't have the same rules and regulations that we have to abide by. I probably like the self-employment side of it, and I enjoy employing people, making our local town better. And that's probably the most satisfying part of it. I can get phone calls in the middle of the night all night, but most of the time I don't leave the house that early unless we're really busy, and it just depends on the season. But if we lose power at our shrimp farm or something, I have to come out. Or if we're getting issues with animals or something comes on top or prevent an issue, I'll come out in the middle of the night or early in the morning. But most of now, I spend a lot of time at the processing plant, and our longest season is during our processing season, and we'll work a lot of hours during that time. So it varies. But you're always on call. That's the hardest part. So my wife and family always get upset, well, why can't we go here? Why can't we go there? Because it's hard to go and do that kind of stuff because we're always on call. It is, definitely. We have somebody here at the farm all the time. We'll monitor our auction every 3 hours, 24 hours a day. We feed 5 times a day. There's always something going on. Yeah, so we concentrate more on better food conversion. So we have less inputs, and we've been able to do that. And we exchange less and less water every year. Then the future may be, and like I say, it's going to be less and less water exchange. And we do that, and that's for a couple of reasons. For one, it helps on the cost. It helps so we don't bring any viruses or bacteria and stuff in. but we still exchange some water. I don't know. I've already been doing this for a long time. I said I've been doing it ever since I was 18. I guess I ran this farm when I was 18. So I don't plan on ever retiring, but maybe slowing down later, maybe. But I'm still young, so it's still a long ways off. I don't know if I'm always confident that what we do is going to work. But I'm never complacent, right? I don't ever want to be in the position where, hey, we're there, quit learning, quit adjusting, quit adapting. Because there's going to be struggles. It can be a hurricane can knock us out. It can be a virus knock us out, or cheap imports come back and the price of shrimp falls. So you always have to be on your toes. One thing that I remember, I guess when I was younger, I was still in school. My dad never let us miss school or anything, never any of that kind of stuff. But one night we were having problems in one of the ponds. I was, I think, 16, I think, at the time. We were having some issues on the ponds, and it was one of the ponds that didn't drain very well. And so he had a lot of shrimp out there. The guys had already worked 15, 16 hours, and they needed to go home and come back. Well, that night I stayed by myself and finished harvesting the pond. And it was one of those things that it was a self-gratifying type moment, and I realized I enjoyed doing what I did, but I still had to go to school the next day. For sure, my dad. And like I said, I didn't go to college. We always joke around that I went to Bowers University because my dad was hard on us, but very influential and strict, and taught us how to work, and didn't let you get away with a whole lot.